I hid my daughter's pushpins so my son wouldn't lose his eye during the Nerf wars. My daughter Cora has been coming to me for months saying her brothers cheat during our family Nerf wars. Every single month, same complaint. The boys team up against her, and when she hits them, they lie about it. Every single month, I tell her the same thing. They're just competitive. Last month, she came to me actually crying after another loss, showing me a recording on her iPad where you could barely see one of her brothers maybe getting hit in the hallway. I watched it and said, "Honey, I can't even tell what happened there. You're overthinking this." She stared at me for a long moment, and I watched something shift in her face. "Fine," she said quietly. "I'll handle it myself." I laughed it off, thinking she'd get over it like always. I should have paid attention to that look in her eyes because that was the moment she stopped asking me for help and started planning something I definitely wasn't going to like. The next Nerf war, Cora tried putting washable paint on her dart tips. Smart idea, I'll give her that. She hit one brother square in the chest, and you could see the pink mark clear as day. He looked down at it, looked at her, then wiped it off with his sleeve and said, "Missed me," with this huge grin. The other two cracked up laughing while Cora stood there with her hands shaking. They started mocking her in this sing-song voice. "Oh no, Detective Cora's got her special investigation tools again. What's next? A magnifying glass?" They all laughed while she just stared at them, and I could see her jaw clenching. By November, she was getting eliminated within 5 minutes every single game. The boys had perfected just swarming her position the second the countdown ended, 3 against 1, overwhelming her with rapid fire. She tried recording the next game, setting up her iPad to catch them in the act. She got footage of one taking a direct hit to the shoulder and denying it. She brought it to me with her hands trembling, and I watched it twice. The dart clearly hit something, but the angle made it hard to tell if it was him or the wall behind him. "Cora, sweetie, I really can't tell from this. If you're getting eliminated that fast every time, maybe you need a better strategy." I watched her face crumble. She nodded slowly, turned around, and walked to her room without saying anything. A few days later, 3 days before January's Nerf war, Cora came to me one last time. Her eyes were red and puffy like she'd been crying for hours. "Can you just watch the next game? Just watch and call them out when they lie?" I was exhausted from work. I had emails piling up, and honestly, I was sick of refereeing the same complaint every single month. "I'm sorry, sweetie. You gotta figure it out yourself or stop playing if it bothers you that much." The words came out harsher than I meant them, but I was frustrated. She just stood there staring at me, and I watched something break in her expression. She whispered, "Okay," so quietly I barely heard it, then went to her room. She didn't come out for 3 days. Not for dinner, not for school the next morning where I had to call her in sick. Nothing. I could hear her moving furniture around in there, dragging things. When game day arrived, I was able to finish up work early and counted off the start of the round. All 3 boys sprinted toward Cora's position in the dining room like they'd done for months. One crashed through the doorway first, and suddenly 30 darts dropped from the ceiling. Some elaborate trap system Cora had rigged to the fan. She was standing there with 2 Nerf guns, one in each hand, and she opened fire on all 3 of the boys simultaneously while they were still getting pelted from above. She hit them multiple times each, absolutely impossible to deny. Clear hits, right in the chest, right in the arms, right in the face. I watched one open his mouth to say it didn't count, and that's when Cora held up one of her darts with this absolutely terrifying, calm smile. There was a thumbtack hot glued to the foam tip, metal point sticking straight out. One looked down at his arm, and there was a tiny dot of blood seeping through his sleeve. Another started screaming because he'd stepped on 2 of the fallen darts, and they'd gone through his sock into his foot. Cora walked over to them slowly, and her voice was completely steady when she said, "The blood of my victims is proof of my win. No more lying." I watched my daughter stand over her bleeding brothers, and all I could think was, I need to hide every pushpin in this house before someone loses an eye to the monster I created.